Welcome to Focus Washington. I'm Chuck Conconi, and I have a very special guest today, an old friend and colleague, Cathy Merrill Williams, who's the publisher of the Washingtonian magazine. Cathy, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You know, Cathy, this is a tough time for journalism, as everyone knows, particularly print on paper. What is going to save the Washingtonian magazine or the Washington Post or any other publication?
Well, for one, I don't think we need saving. We are doing very well, and the magazines as a category, while they have a lot of challenges and have challenges in this economy, I think are going to survive. A lot of them are going to survive. People still like to pick something up, read it, have very, very visual contact with what they're reading in a magazine and have an in-depth article. You know, it's hard to believe that Vogue will go to being something that you read online. It's easy to see something like Time or Newsweek going online because, you know, news is something that is very internet, easy to transport, and that's one of the issues with newspapers. But I think that even 5 or 10 years from now, you're still going to see magazines out there, and that's.
Well, you know, I talk to a lot of young people here at Corvus and other places around town, and they don't read publications. They say everything they get, all their news, they get online. And I wonder if, what you're saying is a very positive thing for the publication business, but you do believe that. You believe that you're going to bring them along as they get older.
First of all, every publication, including ours, has to have a very strong web component, and we do. We have tremendous web traffic, and it is geared towards a younger audience because they look on the web for, you know, where to go out at night, for happy hours, for restaurants, you know, for all of that, and reading articles. So it's true. But there's also a lot of studies that show that it's not as bad as everybody says, that there's still a lot of magazine reading. I mean, it might be People magazine. Can you believe that People magazine would go away 5 or 10 years from now? I really don't think so. It might be some other incarnation of People, but they like to read. So that, you know, that people like to look at. So I think that we will have we'll have the big shift that everyone will have. So maybe the audience will be more tailored in print, but I think you're going to see it.
Have you changed the way you do the print magazine at the Washingtonian? Are the articles shorter? I mean, are you going to a way more pictures, better graphics?
No, but we do link it to the web a lot. So, you know, for any story, we might shoot, you know, 2 rolls of film and we use three pictures in a story.
Sure.
So you can then go online and see more pictures. A lot of what ends up on the cutting room floor then ends up online. We do put more. I think there is probably a leaning of us to be more visual, because, you know, that's something that is, I think, better suited to print than on a website. But really, it is strengthening one another.
But are they getting shorter, the articles? One of the things people always get in magazines, particularly like the Washingtonians, an article that is much longer, much more in depth. You're tightening up somewhat because people there seems to be so much demand for their time.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, I love the New Yorker and I read the New Yorker, but man, it's an investment.
It is. I
mean, it is a major investment to read a New Yorker article. That being said, a lot of times it's worth the investment. And so, you know, I think about our editorial not so much in should the stories be shorter or longer, but how can we keep the reader's attention and write pieces that are interesting, that are about Washington, that the affluent people who read our magazine want to spend their time with. Our average reader still spends an hour and a half with the magazine.
Now, the business side of the magazine, which is something, of course, you're interested in, is it become tougher to sell advertising?
Well, certainly, I would say that, you know, this year is tougher for everybody. Luckily, we have held up well this year. I'm very happy. One thing about having a publication that's been around for 45 years is that you can look back. So I can see the recessions of the late 70s. I can see the 80s. I can see the 91 recession. So for me, it's a little easier to see a blip. And we've done well. Part of that is because we're in Washington. So our national advertising has held and gone up because, you know, there's a lot of excitement in this city. You know, and as you know, I think we really are in this, you know, dawn of a new age here. locally, some of the retailers in real estate, it's been more challenging for them. But smart companies invest in sales and marketing when times are tough. There's study after study after study that shows, if you go back even to the 1930s, on who survived. And I think at least we see among our smart advertisers them doing that, trying to capture business and steal away from their competitors.
So in spite of the economic position right now, you're feeling pretty good about the magazine and the business.
I am. I mean, I of course wish we, for the country, for many, many people who are suffering right now, I wish things were better. There'd be more opportunities. But I think that, it'll come back. Yeah.
Thank you, Cathy, for being here. This is Focus Washington, and I'm Chuck Conconi.